Okay, so today we will discuss the voltage regulation of three-phase alternator. So voltage regulation. Voltage regulation is similar to the voltage regulation of transformer you have already learned, and voltage regulation of DC generator. Voltage regulation is the change in terminal voltage from no load to full load at constant speed and constant excitation. So here in the percentage voltage regulation, we have to examine the change in terminal voltage from its no load value, that is say excitation voltage minus terminal voltage at any load condition divided by voltage at any terminal voltage into 100. But the condition is that the excitation should be constant. Excitation is constant, as well as speed of the alternator is constant. Means suppose they are taking at the constant synchronous speed. So every time you have to maintain the synchronous speed constant. So it's a synchronous value, and excitation is a constant one. So under such condition, the voltage regulation can be determined. The voltage regulation of three-phase alternator is depend upon the power factor. Here, one more thing is that it is also depends on power factor. So it is different for the power factor of unity power factor, lagging and leading power factor. So already you have learned this voltage regulation for the transformer. So the nature of voltage regulation depend on the power factor is remain same. Say it is the voltage regulation. If you're going to plot with respect to say the percentage load, it may be the percentage load or it is a load current versus percentage regulation. So it is found that the voltage regulation is different for the different load condition. Say for example, it is the say constant one, but it is for the unity power factor, the voltage regulation is a small positive. It means that the voltage is going to drop. Whereas for the lagging power factor, the voltage is lagging with a large value. The voltage is lagging, or voltage is drop in voltage is more as compared to the unity power factor. So it is the lagging power factor. It is the unity power factor. And for capacity load, or if the load is say capacitive, so or the power factor is leading side, the voltage regulation is in this fashion. So it may be a flat voltage, or it may be a somewhat greater. So it is a positive small value. Positive. Here is a positive small value, whereas here it's a negative value, and here is a small negative value. Sorry, it is a positive value over here. It is also the positive, but here the voltage regulation is a small negative value is there. Okay. So the voltage regulation can be found by three methods. One is the direct method. Direct method means the generator or alternator is directly loaded, and from the load, the corresponding value of load current, we are going to measure the some terminal voltage. Say for example, here we are here the say it is the prime mover. It is coupled with the three-phase alternator. It is coupled with three-phase alternator, and alternator is connected with the load. Alternator is connected with the load, and we are measuring the current drawn by the load, as well as say we are measuring the voltage across any two terminal. It may be the phase to phase, or it may be phase to the neutral one. So here it is some, and we are giving the excitation with the help of DC current. So it is a DC current. It's a field current F1, F2, and here is the load. So it is connected with the variable load. The load now, it may be inductive, it may be capacitive, and the resistive, and by this way it is possible to measure the voltage regulation by direct method. So what is the advantage of direct method? The advantage is that it is the correct value, it is at actual value, And in this case, we are able to measure the terminal voltage at actual value. So, but this, what is the disadvantage? This disadvantage is that we can find the voltage regulation of given alternator whose capacity is small, because we need some load. Suppose the alternator capacity is 10 kVA, it's okay, we can have a 10 kVA load is available, 15-20 ampere load is available. But if the generator, if the alternator capacity is say 100 MVA, or it may be a 250 MVA or 110 MVA, it is not possible to conduct the load test in the lab, because load is not available. It will consume more power, and it is quite difficult to measure the voltage regulation by direct method. So there are some indirect method also. So some of the indirect methods are, we have indirect methods. Indirect method, it means that here the generator is not loaded directly, whereas with the help of some open circuit characteristic and short circuit characteristic, it may be the combination of open circuit, short circuit, and zero power factor characteristic, it is possible to measure the voltage regulation of alternator whose capacity is say in the range of megawatt over there. So the first method is called as a impedance, synchronous impedance method. Synchronous impedance method. It is also called as a EMF method, because we are measuring the EMF, we are measuring the voltage drop across the resistance and synchronous reactance, synchronous impedance. Therefore, this method is called as a synchronous impedance method or EMF method. Second method which is available, it is called as a MMF method. MMF method. So MMF method is the magnetomotive force method is there. Here all whatever the EMFs are there, it is get converted into their MMF, and from the MMF value, it is possible to calculate the voltage induced in the alternator at particular load condition, or it's maybe a full load condition or half load condition, and hence this method is called as a MMF method. And the third method which is available, it is called as a Portier triangle, Portier triangle method. And in this method we need, okay, in the EMF method we need OCC, open circuit characteristic, and short circuit characteristic, whereas in the Portier triangle one more test is needed. One is the open circuit characteristic, second is the short circuit characteristic. Already we have covered what is the short circuit and open circuit characteristic of the alternator, and one more is the ZPFC, zero power factor characteristic, also needed. In conjunction of these three characteristics, it is possible to find out the voltage regulation. And in this method, Portier triangle method, one more advantage is that here we are able to calculate the XAL, that is the armature leakage reactance drop, or we can separate out the leakage reactance drop, as compared to in these two methods we directly measure the synchronous impedance and synchronous reactance. Here we are not going to calculate the synchronous reactance and synchronous impedance. Instead of this one, we are going to convert all these value into the MMF. Okay, and in the Portier triangle, one more advantage is that the XAL or leakage reactance can be found out. But all these three methods is applicable only for cylindrical rotor machine. It is applicable only for cylindrical rotor machine. The reason is that we are introducing only one reactance. Only one reactance is the synchronous reactance, and it is possible only when the flux over the periphery of armature remain constant, or in short, we can say that the air gap between the stator and rotor is constant. But in case of non-cylindrical rotor or silent pole rotor, the air gap, it is not constant. We already discussed that along direct axis the air gap is very small, and along quadrature axis the air gap is very high. So again, if for our just in the understanding purpose, say suppose this is the our say cylindrical rotor machine, in which cylindrical rotor machine the air gap is constant along the direct axis as well as along the quadrature axis. Whereas in case of salient pole machine, the pole is in this fashion. Okay, so it is a very rough figure. So in this way, there is along direct axis the air gap is small, whereas along quadrature axis the air gap is very high. See here, the air gap is very high along the quadrature axis. So only one reactance cannot be sufficient to evaluate the voltage regulation or estimate the voltage regulation of alternator. So therefore, these three methods is applicable only for the cylindrical rotor machine. So any doubt up to this one? Okay, any doubt? So, okay, so in this case, now we will see the voltage regulation by ZP EMF method. Voltage regulation by EMF method. It is also called as a impedance method. Impedance method. We already covered that it also needed some open circuit characteristic and short circuit characteristic. So we have some, if you draw this one, so if you draw this open circuit and short circuit characteristic. So this is your open circuit characteristic. And this is short circuit characteristic, OCC, and short circuit characteristic. Now from this OCC, it is the measured in field current is IF, and this is the value which we are going to measure. It is a open circuit voltage VOC per phase and ISC on the y-axis. So from this one, we already calculated the synchronous impedance ZS is equal to VOC per phase divided by ISC, short circuit current, at IF is equal to constant. Already we have covered what is the meaning of IF constant. It means that at some particular value of the field current, at corresponding value of what is the corresponding value of short circuit current and open circuit voltage. Say for example, we have taken the open circuit voltage over here, and if you go to the field current, we will find this is our short circuit current. So this is the short circuit current we are going to measure. So by this way, it is possible to measure the VOC per phase divided by short circuit current here with the help of this figure, and hence let armature resistance RA is the armature resistance per phase. Per phase is the armature resistance. Then it is possible to calculate the synchronous impedance, synchronous reactance is equal to synchronous synchronous impedance square minus armature resistance square under root. So now it is quite clear that we are able to calculate the synchronous reactance. Now we will have a want to calculate the voltage regulation by this method. Let the current I is lagging with an angle theta. So we are able to draw the vector diagram for this case. Say this is your this is the voltage is there. Okay, it is the terminal voltage of alternator VT. Current is lagging. So here the current is lagging by an angle theta, at any angle theta. So current is lagging theta, and because of this one, we are going to add the armature resistance. There is a addition of armature resistance and synchronous impedance is there. So armature resistance is in phase with the current. So armature resistance, we are able to draw IA, RA drop, and impedance drop or reactance drop, it is in quadrature with the current. So it is in 90 degree. Say this is if you extend the value of current. So 90 degree with this one. So it is 90 degree over here. So this is the I into IA, or only the I into synchronous reactance. Now at these 2 points, we will get excitation voltage EF. Excitation voltage EF. Now to find out this value of EF, if we are having some trigonometric formulas, say this is point is O, A, B, C, and D. So definitely, if you want to calculate the value, it is quite clear from that OD square is equal to OB square plus BD square. Okay, it can be written as OA plus AB bracket square plus say BC plus CD bracket square. Okay. Now in this formula, what is the value of this vector? This much portion. If you just examine this one, so it is the voltage VT and this is angle theta. So we can write as a VT cos theta. Whereas this term is VT sin theta. So put these values. So here it is the value of EF square is equal to VT cos theta plus IA. What is that? IARA. So IARA, or this is simply the armature resistance or load current is there, square plus VT cos delta cos theta plus IA into XS. IA into XS bracket is. So by this way, it is possible to calculate the excitation EMF and hence voltage regulation, or hence voltage regulation we can find, or we know that okay, we know. So say it is here, we will put here voltage regulation is equal to EF minus VT upon VT into 100. So now this is the voltage regulation at lagging power factor. And for the leading power factor, the difference is that EF square is equal to, or under root of these all values, it is VT cos theta plus IARA as it is bracket square plus VT. It is a VT sin theta. It is a VT sin theta. So it is a VT sin theta minus IA axis. So only this difference is there. By this way, we are able to calculate the voltage regulation at lagging, leading, and unity power factor. If you know the value of synchronous impedance or synchronous reactance, armature resistance, sometimes it is given in the numerical and sometimes we have to calculate by the formulas. Okay. Now, the value of EF can be calculated by the other way also. Say, for example, in this way, suppose we are having the equivalent circuit. What is the equivalent circuit? In the equivalent circuit, there is a EMF source, okay, and it is the excitation EMF, and this is the resistance and reactance. So this is the equivalent circuit of synchronous alternator. Okay, so it is the armature resistance RA, this is synchronous reactance XS, and it is going to deliver the current IA, and the voltage is, terminal voltage is VT. It is the VT. So you can we can find EMF excitation by applying the Kirchhoff voltage law. So EF is equal to VT at an angle of 0. If you're taking the voltage as a reference quantity, VT at an angle of 0 plus IA into bracket RA plus JXS. So by this way, we also calculate the voltage excitation EMF. Now at lagging power factor, that is cos theta is the lagging one. So you can write as EF is equal to VT plus J0, okay, or at an angle of 0, and IA into cos theta minus J sin theta. Okay, so you have to find into bracket RA plus JXS. So this is the way by which we are going to calculate. And if the at leading power factor, we can calculate EF is equal to VT plus J0 plus IA into bracket cos theta plus J sin theta, since the current is leading, into bracket RA plus JXS. So this is the way at any method we can calculate the excitation EMF, but it is preferred to calculate by this way, means by using some equivalent circuit. If you are going to calculate, because this method or this way is utilizing in the EMF method, MMF method, and ZPF method in all. So if you have any doubt, you may ask the question. Any question is there?
No, sir.
Okay, or okay, so we will move further. We try to solve a numerical. It is a very interesting and it's a very simple. Numericals are there. Very interesting methods. Some graphical methods are there. Some analytical methods are there. So just I read the question, and from this question we can calculate the voltage regulation. So the question is that a three-phase 1500 kVA star connected 50 Hertz 2300 volt alternator has resistance measured between pair of terminal is 0.16 ohm. So it is just a way to ask the question. There is a one synchronous alternator. It is a star connected, and here with the help of multimeter, we have measured the resistance. Multimeter is there. We have measured the resistance and it is found the resistance is equal to 0.16 ohm. So what is the resistance per phase? So resistance per phase, say Ra per phase is equal to 0.16 divided by 2, it is 0.08 ohm. Is it correct? Because the resistance is measured between the two terminals and it is connected in the star. So definitely the resistance per phase is divided by 2. Okay. So what is given? It is a three-phase alternator. It is a three-phase alternator is there, and it is voltage is okay. kVA is a 1500 kVA, and voltage is 2300 volt. Generally, whatever the voltage is written, it is a say line to line voltage. So we have to convert into the per phase value. Okay, so it is therefore VT per phase is equal to divided by √3, it is 1328 volt. Okay, up to this one, this is the data. Assume that the effective resistance is 1.5 times. So okay, resistance Ra is 1.5 times effective resistance, so it is a 1.5.08 effective resistance. What is the reason is that when the generator is heat up, its resistance, the resistance of armature winding get increases because of the temperature. So effective resistance is 1.5 times. Therefore, the value become 0.12 0.12. This is the armature resistance. Okay. A field current of 70 ampere produces short circuit current equal to the full load current 370. So the full load current IF, or it is a full load current IF, is equal to 376 ampere, and it is going to happen when we are conducting the short circuit test at field current. At field current is equal to 70 ampere. And corresponding to 70 ampere, the open circuit voltage is 700. So VOC line, it is given 700 volt at the same value. So what is the meaning? So as the synchronous impedance is equal to VOC upon ISC, no doubt it is per phase value, at IF is equal to constant. So we can write as these values are, it is ZS is equal to 700 divided by √3, it is converted into per phase. How much current is going to circulate? 376 is the short circuit armature current at IF is equal to 70 ampere. So this is, it means that at some particular value of, suppose this is the open circuit characteristic and this is short circuit characteristic, at 70 ampere field current, this short circuit current is 376 ampere, and whereas the open circuit voltage is 700. Are you getting? So it is quite simple. So by this way, okay, so the synchronous impedance is, it is found that the synchronous impedance is ZS is equal to 1.075 ohm. Okay, and armature resistance we know, so we can calculate the synchronous reactance. Synchronous reactance is under root 1.075 bracket square minus 0.12 bracket square whole under root, and it is value is 1.068 ohms. Okay, 0.618 ohms. Now we know that the load current, full load current is given here. Now we want to calculate the power regulation at 0.8 power factor. So calculate voltage regulation. Voltage regulation is at 0.8 power factor lag. Okay, so what is that value? If we can write as cos theta is equal to 0.8, so therefore sin theta, inverse of theta, and then again its value sin theta, so it is 0.6. So we can calculate the method by EF is equal to under root whole under root VT cos theta plus IARA, or the armature current bracket square, plus Vt sine theta plus Ia excess bracket square. By this way, put the value of Vt is nothing but your terminal voltage we have calculated. It is 1328 volt, or you can calculate by equivalent circuit, that is per phase voltage 1328 plus J0 into plus how much it is the here the current is lagging and the magnitude of current is 376 ampere and power factor is 0.8. So cos inverse of 0.8, it is a 36.86. Okay, so here it is a lagging power factor, so it is a minus sign. So if you put this value 376 at an angle of minus 36.86 multiplied by impedance. Again we can calculate from the what is the impedance over there? Here Zs is equal to, we can write as armature resistance 0.12 plus J, synchronous reactance value is 1.068, which is equal to, if you calculate this value, you can put over there. So I will write as it is 0.12 plus J 1.068. So it is very easy method, and from this one it is found that 1631 at an angle of 10.39 volt. So here the magnitude of excitation EMF, EF is equal to 1631 volt. So definitely it is more than the terminal voltage. Therefore, the percentage regulation is equal to 1631 minus 1328 divided by 1328 into 100, and the voltage regulation is 22.8%. It is observed that the voltage regulation found by this method, that is the EMF method, is always greater than the actual value. If suppose same data is taken for the EMF method or ZPF method, the voltage regulation definitely it is not 22.8, it is less than 22.8. So therefore we will use three methods to determine the voltage regulation, and whatever the value found near to each other by two method, it is the correct value. So the voltage regulation by EMF method is always greater than actual value. Therefore, this method is called as a pessimistic method. It will give the result more than the actual value. So again, there are some numericals are there. In the next time, we will do one numerical and move to the second method of voltage regulation. You may ask if you have any doubt.